Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Feel the Madness podcast, episode number 2. We are here with Neptune's Kraken, and today we have a controversial podcast. I say controversial. It's going to be controversial if you're an AEW fan. I want to go ahead and say this right off the rip. This is not a hit piece. This is a challenge piece. Nobody in AEW is probably going to hear this, but I would like to personally issue the challenge for them to get better. We are going to be talking about the decline of all elite wrestling, how we got where we're at, what we can do to possibly fix it, and where we're going. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let Kraken introduce himself here. Take a sip of this fine Colombian coffee.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is the Kraken. Hope everyone has had a fantastic day. And yes, we are deep diving AEW Dynamite and Collision. Of course, I do watch AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays. So, of course, my insight will be a little more, not as in depth as the old Shredders. He will have more of a statistic side to this aspect, in my opinion. I'll have a more visual aspect when it comes to what I have seen over the past 6 weeks, as I have been watching it again since Forbidden Door. But with that being said, go ahead, Shredder. Let it rip.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. For any of you that may have never watched it, or have maybe just been under a rock in the professional wrestling world, All Elite Wrestling was established in 2019. Now, first, before this gets any further, I want to say I used to be a weekly watcher at one point of All Elite Wrestling. When it first came out, I just kind of brushed it off because nobody can really compete with the WWE, and it had kind of been that way for a long time. With that being said, I didn't take AEW very seriously. I went to a show and I said, hey, you know what? This isn't that bad. Kind of got into it. Their shows are god-awfully long. I went to one show, so let me go ahead and preface that. It was super hot. It took forever to get into the building. The building was crazy hot. I know that's not their fault. They just rent the building out or whatever. All that aside, the show was pretty good. It just lasted forever. I ended up leaving early because I just couldn't. I was wrestled out. All right. So with that being said, I will tell you right up front, I do not watch AEW on a weekly basis. I may tune in occasionally. I do a lot of fast forwarding. I do a lot of going back and watching the highlights. I do not watch it the entire show every week because it's just not my cup of tea. For the kind of people that like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing that those people like. I'm just not one of those people. But what I do is keep up with the numbers and the stats. And because I do want them to succeed, and I would like them to eventually get to the point that maybe we could have a little friendly competition again in the wrestling world. So with that being said, 2019 is when All Elite Wrestling was established. Owner Tony Khan, mainly funded by his dad, Shad Khan. I want to go ahead and say this right off the rip, and I know a lot of people are probably going to take a little bit of offense to this. All Elite Wrestling is the sinking ship that won't sink, can't sink. Excuse me. It is funded by money that probably won't ever stop. So unless Shad just comes up and says, no, we're done, we're just going to keep rolling. Now, with that being said, 2019, they came onto the scene. They hired a ton of free agents from all over the world, all over the country. Then they started hiring some notable veterans, Chris Jericho, John Moxley, so on and so forth. They even got to the point where they hired CM Punk, and that was massive. I thought that was when I was kind of in the just like I'd already been watching, and I was like, okay, cool. That brought me back in full. I was full dedicated to it, to watching it at that point. It was something worth watching. I could look past a lot of the things that I didn't like because I liked the Punk segments, I liked the Jericho segments. I was a fan of Luchasaurus, even though anybody who's watched Luchasaurus, you already know. I don't have to say anything. It is what it is, but it was a good gimmick, right? With that being said, Jay Cargill was kind of rough. She was entertaining to watch, so they had some good stuff. They also had some stuff I loathed, i.e., the Young Bucks, Orange Cassidy, and the Friendship Gang, and all that stuff. That was kind of crazy, not my thing. Didn't really like Kenny Omega at the time. Still not a huge fan of him, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes when he comes back again. So what we're here to talk about, and we'll let Kraken take over for a second here, is we're here to talk about declining viewership and declining attendance, and we're going to help them out a little bit here, and we're going to talk to you about All In. So with that being said, before we get too far into this thing and it becomes a hit piece almost, or it's going to feel like one maybe, I'm going to let Kraken go ahead and tell you guys all about All In, the card, everything that's going on that end, and kind of help promote their more recent pay-per-view that is to come. I believe it's going to be in Wembley. Is it not, Kraken?
Yeah, so it's from Wembley again, like it has been in the past. Wembley has been a big spot for them. From what I understand, the last year was a huge attendance. I don't have that number directly in front of me. But I do got the current match card as it sits. Wembley is August 25th, 2024 from London, which is it's 2 weeks now. So a few more matches will be added. I do figure. I know when I first started watching again after Revolution, that was my last time watching. Watch for Forbidden Door. There was a lot on the kickoff, pre-show, whatever they do call it. But current matches, you got the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland going against Bryan Danielson. Title versus career match. The build for this has been good. We all know that Bryan won the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And of course, he was given the trophy and the title for that by Double J Jeff Jarrett himself. And they've had a good build up between them two, trying to just get Bryan Danielson ready to be in top focus form to face Swerve Strickland. I don't think, in my honest opinion, this is the best match. Put Bryan in for a career ender against Swerve, unless he's absolutely going to put Swerve over in the. Then you got the AEW Women's World Championship, which was a great build up, a great heel turn. I think this is one of the better storylines that they built going into All In. Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Mariah May also won the Women's Owen Hart Foundation. And in the celebration of that, we seen her attack Toni Storm and beat her in the head with a heel of. Toni Storm did show a lot of color, as it did leave a pretty decent sized cut from the heel of the shoe, but the build up that was perfect. I remember talking about how this build up would either have to be fast, it would have to happen right away, or they're gonna correctly do it and just give it a little bit of a slow heel turn. But no, they bit the bullet, done it right away. 100% okay with that as we stand. The TNT Championship. Jack Perry, who won it at Forbidden Door in a ladder match, goes against Darby Allin. We know at 2 pay-per-views back, but one before Forbidden Door, Darby attempted, or he actually did, use a flamethrower successfully on Jack Perry. And then at Blood and Guts, they handcuffed him, and that's how he got the match. He was going to set the poor dude on fire yet again. I still got a little bit on this one. I want to see some more build up, but I just think with Darby, he's crazy. He was legitimately crazy. I think if ECW was around, he would fit greatly at the shit I've seen. Um, example jumping off the top of a ladder into glass at AEW Revolution. Absolutely crazy. He's done a lot of other stuff as well, but I don't. This match is still very iffy. A TBS championship as well. You got Mercedes Monet, the CEO, which Titan, of course, will deep dive how that's chaotic for. Going up against the DMD, Dr. Britt Baker, returning from an injury. She stated she had a lot of injuries that we truly didn't know about. Had some neck stuff, had some back stuff going on. Couldn't really use her extremities at sometimes. A lot going on. Tony gave her the time off, which is great to get medically healed, and told her whenever she wanted to come back, she could. Came back at Forbidden Door and automatically went after Mercedes Monet. I think that has a lot to do with who has what power, and I don't think Dr. Britt Baker truly enjoys that aspect. But yet again, I'll let Shredder deep dive that for y'all as well. AEW American Championship, because it's no longer the International Championship. MJF is your champion, going up against Will Ospreay. This match will be, I figure it's going to be another an hour-long extravaganza. They gave us that on Dynamite 3 weeks ago as well. Match was very entertaining, had great spots in it. Of course, we know MJF had to use that diamond-plated AEW size ring that he carries around. Will Ospreay is still not happy about that. He's also not happy that he has changed the title's name. Thinks it's a smack in the mouth to everybody who has came to AEW that would assume from overseas wrestling. That's what Will Ospreay is using his motivation for. Then just recently announced there's going to be a casino gauntlet, which we do not know who is in the matches as of yet. I have not witnessed a casino gauntlet myself, so I do know the winner earns a world title shot. There, don't know any of the participants right in it. And then on the pre-show, we have Willow Nightingale, Ishii versus Chris Statlander, Stokely. Why? Couldn't tell you. Willow Nightingale, do believe has a title. I think she's got the CMLL title. I think that's the one she won. I could be wrong on that. Not sure why they're not defending that, or if that's something they can't defend at All In. Not sure. I think Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander, that match would be decent enough for the main card of All In. But pre-show, I guess, is where we'll have to see it go. But with that, that is our current AEW All In. Only match I'm really questionable about the outcome and if it's even going to have a straight down the middle outcome is Jack Perry and Darby Allin. But we still got about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get that built up. But with that being said, Shredder, are you ready to deep dive AEW Dynamite numbers over the past few weeks?
Yes, sir. So what we're going to do first, and every number that we're using are coming from WrestleNomics and the Nielsen report. Anybody wants to look it up, you can feel free to do so. So I'm just going to kind of get you up to speed with where we're at, where we started versus where we're at, right? So let's start with the year 2022, because that's kind of when they really started keeping track of these numbers and wanted to know what was going on with All Elite Wrestling. AEW Dynamite in 2022 had an average of 958,000 viewers. 2023, it dropped down to 881,000 viewers. Now, these numbers are based off of a poll from January to June for the Nielsen report. So please understand this is not for the full year. This is simply for the first 6 months of the year. And that's for the 2022 numbers, the 2023 numbers, and the 2024 numbers of this year only go up until June of this year. So, June of this year, it has dropped down to 761,000 viewers. Now, the key demographic for sports entertainment is 18 to 49. In 2022, Dynamite had a key demographic of 0.37. 2023, it dropped down to 0.30. So not terrible. A little bit of fall off, but not terrible. 2024, it dropped again. It's now down to a 0.26. Now, like I said, these are the January to June numbers. That is just for Dynamite. All the numbers for all of the AEW shows are trending downward. Just kind of give you a brief synopsis here. Collision, no 2022 episodes. There wasn't enough to rate. I believe they only had 2 episodes in January through June of 2023. So they averaged 706,000 viewers per episode. That's what's stated here on the Nielsen report. And then in 2024, it's fell down to 422,000 viewers. Their key demographic 2023 was a 0.27. It is now down to a 0.12. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with all the statistics for all this, but everything is trending down. Everything on WWE is trending up, except for SmackDown in 2023 and 2024. It went from a 2.33 million viewers to 2.32 million viewers in 2024. Raw also fell off a little bit in 2024 as well. It went from a 1.82 to a 1.73. So just kind of give you some ideas of what they're going up against there. I'm going to skip over some of this here because average estimated tickets distributed and things like that. I mean, that's we're starting to get into the real in-depth stuff that you guys probably aren't going to care a lot about. I did hear you say something about all AEW All In 2023, 81,035 people is what they showed for the attendance record. The Turnstile recorded 72,265 people came through the Turnstiles. So
Yeah, I figured, because I think, if I remember correctly, yet again, for me, AEW Revolution was my first pay-per-view for them. Things last match. Did watch AEW here and there. But yet again, I can't honestly say that it was the first year there. Might have been. But from last year, I know the number.
yeah, they did have good numbers at Wembley last year. I will give them that. The first thing I want to go through in this kind of deep dive with AEW, we've already been talking about some of the people they've signed and stuff like that. So let's start talking about some of the people who are leaving. This is kind of where I feel like a red flag should have been raised. So far, AEW has lost Brian Pillman Jr., Sean Spears, Sonny Kiss, The Bunny. They all left. Kevin Sullivan, who at one point was the company's vice president of post-production, was just unexpectedly released, as was the vice president of live events and touring, Rafael Morifi. I apologize if I butchered that name. and the Chief Marketing and Merchandising Officer, Dana Massey, also was released. Then we start talking about talent who have left just in 2024. So we're going to start at the top of the list with this. Andrade left. He had already been voicing his opinion. He wasn't happy. Got into a couple altercations. I believe he got into a physical skirmish at one point. Andrade is gone. CM Punk, they did decide to release, which absolutely turned out to be the worst mistake they have made to date so far. He went to the opposite company and is setting record-breaking numbers in merchandise sales, attendance spikes in actual physical attendance to the shows. He spikes the demographic when he goes on TV. Like, everything's up. Everything's trending upward with CM Punk. Big ball drop right there. That was kind of one of the telltale signs for me that this was all getting ready to start going south real quick. I wanted to be known I've not been a lifelong CM Punk fan, but I did start liking him more when he was kind of making his resurgence and starting to come back or whatever. I think it was just because it was such a big, notable name going somewhere that wasn't WWE. I know a lot of people have PDS, Punk Derangement Syndrome. They can't stand the guy, and for whatever reason, I've never met him. Don't know what he's like in real life. I only see the things that are reported about him. Everything seems to be up right now. Caught a big L with that one. It is what it is. Moving on. It was at the end of the World's End media scrum that Tony Khan revealed that Andrade, his contract had expired on January 1st, and that match with Miro was his last match. Moved right along. It was on New Year's Eve that Andrade was removed from the promotion's roster page, and that pretty much sealed the deal with him being gone. Mike Santana has since left the promotion. He was in one of their big stables at the time, and that was the Inner Circle. Santana, along with Ortiz, debuted for AEW in 2019 at All Out. And they stayed with the Inner Circle until March of 2022. Since then, Mike Santana has been active on the independent circuit. Matt Hardy has left the promotion. Jeff Hardy has left the promotion. I know a lot of people say, well, the Hardy Boys are washed up, they're has-beens, whatever, blah, 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 blah. They still put people in the seats.
Yeah.
You still found something to do with them.
Yeah, and Santana, Matt, and Jeff Hardy, they are all on TNA at the current moment, active roster wrestling at least. Santana's having a big feud with the System faction.
Nice. All Elite Ethan Page is now All Ego Ethan Page. He's also now the NXT champion in WWE. He's selling shirts, getting over, getting heat. It's all up. All he needed was somebody to book him the right way. All he needed was somebody to give him an opportunity to go in the ring and get over. And he did just that. Another dropped ball. Mark Henry, not a big loss. You could have used him to teach some of the young talent. They didn't do that. Mark Henry's going home. He was just at Raw this past Monday night, sitting in the crowd with his son, who just signed a nice contract with the WWE on an NIL contract. So there's that. Arn Anderson, one of the greatest minds to ever be in professional wrestling, arguably. I don't know who would argue it, but somebody probably would just to have something to do. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, one of the Four Horsemen. Put on banger after banger after banger before there was bangers. He was out there just laying it all on the line, spine bustering people left and right. Nope, he's gone. Jake Hager, never been a huge Jake Hager fan, or what was his name in WWE? Jack what? Jack Swagger. Uh, he's gone. He went to the house. He's done. He'd had enough. They wasted him. CJ Perry, Lana, aka Lana. She's no longer all elite. Not a massive loss there, but once again, people are jumping ship left and right. Won't be long. We'll see her back in WWE. Let's see. Anthony Henry, he's gone. These are just releases in 2024. This is only August. These are people that have either been released or have decided they no longer want to work for the company. The Tate twins, or the boys as they are known, Brent and Brandon Tate, they're gone. Done. Stu Grayson, no longer under contract with AEW. He's done. He's gone.
He was part of the Dark Order.
He was part of the Dark Order. That they have pretty much made that obsolete now. I don't remember the last time that I heard anything about them. Gravity debuted in January 2023 on AEW Dark. Went to compete on Dynamite and Collision. Fought Pac and Samoa Joe. Got released in April 1st of 2024. Dasha Gonzalez. I don't even remember seeing this person on television. She's gone. She's no longer there. That's over. Slim J, gone. Parker Bordeaux, he's gone. He's on Independence now. He's creating crazy promos on the Independence. Jose the Assistant, gone. WWE stole one from All Elite Wrestling. Stephanie Vacker, I believe is how you say it.
Curie.
That's not how you... Vacurie. Either way, ever how you pronounce it, I apologize if I butchered it. There seems to be belief that he is going to be the manager for her once she gets to the main roster, or possibly gets on NXT full time. So we'll stand by and see what happens with that. Jose the Assistant's not a great loss. It's not the end of the world, but the problem is you're having multiple people. You got to look at the big picture here. You're having multiple people jump ship. I'm probably going to butcher this one. Jora Joel, I believe. Jora, Jora, Joel, Johl. Signed with AEW in 2021. Also got released in April of this year. So those are the ones that have officially been released. And they're just no longer with the company, or they're done for whatever reason. So with that being said, there's already people jumping ship, right? They're just done. They're not coming back for whatever reason. Blah, 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 whatever. That should be a concerning issue, in my opinion. When you have people that just no longer want to work for you and they actually leave. So here's the top 5 candidates before we do a deep dive into what I think some of the actual issues are here. The top 5 candidates that are next up to leave AEW. We're going to go through these quick, and then Kraken, I'll get your opinion on them, and then I'll voice a little bit of my opinion on some of the people leaving, and we'll move on to the next phase of this. Number 1 on the list, Daniel Garcia, possibly looking to leave. Hook, that's Taz's son, for anybody that doesn't know who it is. Ricky Starks, the Lucha Brothers, and Wardlow. Top 5 candidates to leave that could be headed either back to the independents, TNA, MLW, or WWE, but they just don't want to be in AEW anymore. And like I said, these are people who could jump ship to WWE. That's the most likely place for most of these to go. Obviously, WWE is working on picking up talent. I don't think they're scared of AEW by any means, but they're definitely taking ammunition away from them. What's your thoughts on those people leaving, Kraken?
Old Danny Garcia, I think he'd be a fine fit for an NXT run, kind of like what they've done with all Go Page. I don't see that being any issue. Currently with Hook, they had a good thing going with him and Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe would have been he could have learned under, as Samoa Joe has been waiting a long time. But other things came up. Joe got written off. Hollywood, of course, took him back from AEW. So
Yeah, I was
I
going to
think,
say, now I know Samoa Joe did have to go back to filming season 2 of Twisted Metal.
yeah. So now you got Hook. He's really doing his own thing, kinda. Um, with what the wrestler Shibata, I think is who he's running around with. That's going against a learning tree, Chris Jericho. So it's very difficult for Hook. My only thing is with Taz being one of the commentators over there on AEW, is he gonna allow Hook to leave? I wonder if there's a lot of hey, don't go there going on with that, because I believe Hook in the PC area performance center, WWE, give him 3 months, debut him on NXT, would do great. Yet again, I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, or if they're gonna push him for the FTW championship again against Jericho. That's still what we're currently how it's playing out. Lucha Bros, did read that neither one of them, from what we understand, want to resign. I do believe they would be a great fit back on the main roster of WWE as soon as they can sign. I think they would be great on SmackDown side, just because I think SmackDown is lesser heavy for the men's tag team division. Because there's a lot of faction stuff going on Raw. They really don't need to be put into a faction. Bros can hold. And then I think you said last Warlow, correct?
Correct.
I can't tell you. I've been watching AEW since 3 weeks before Forbidden Door, and I don't think that man's had TV time. I think it's time for him to pack his suitcase, go down to Orlando, get a nice tan, and get some real work in. My honest opinion. You put him with the Undisputed Kingdom, which is the knockoff Undisputed. What were they called?
Era.
Era, yeah,
Undisputed Era,
yeah. Knockoff Undisputed Era. It's got almost all the same members, except for one, who is Kyle O'Reilly. Not doing that again. Every match he's fighting one of the Undisputed Kingdom. Yes, he basically is. Yeah, Warlow, pack your bags. We'll see you in Orlando.
yeah. All right. I'm going to start at the top of the list. I'm going to make it quick, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Garcia. Great mid-card wrestler. Never going to be WWE champion. I'm okay with that. He's entertaining to an extent. He's got that underdog syndrome, like Sami Zayn. Put him in NXT. Give him a year, 2 years. Get some of that green off of him. And bring him up to Raw. Put him to work. Need some good mid-carders. Hook. Once again, send him to the PC. Get him ready. Get him on NXT. Give him a year. Send him to put him in the draft lottery. If we do that again. If not, send him somewhere. Flip a coin. I don't care where you send him. Be a good Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion. Put him on SmackDown. We need a good United States Champion. We got LA Knight right now. We could always do better. We could always do worse. We saw that too. We had Austin Theory. We all know how I feel about Austin Theory. Here's the diamond in the rough. Actually, it's not rough. It's rough because AEW makes it rough. Ricky Starks. He's got the look. He's got, you name it, he's got it. He's got the voice, he's got the moves, he's got the look, he dresses like a star, he walks like a star, he talks like a star, he acts like a star. He gets booked like a wet piece of paper. So the last thing that they wanted to book Ricky Starks for was for him to come back and have a feud with Big Bill. Now, if you don't know any history on Ricky Starks, he's had some neck issues. He's also best friends with Cody Rhodes. Just throwing that in there. Now, I'm not saying that Big Bill would ever intentionally hurt somebody. If anybody doesn't know who Big Bill is, because you don't watch AEW, if you remember a little tag team from a couple years ago, Enzo and Cass, Big Bill was Cass because he's 7 foot tall and you can't teach that. Man, he could be a star. He could be a star somewhere with a good manager. If they could clone Paul Heyman, it'd be great. Anyway, getting back to Ricky Starks. From what I understand, Ricky wasn't having that. So they left him at the house. So I guess that's what he's going to do. He's going to sit at the house till it's time to leave, and then he's going to call Cody Rhodes, and he's going to send the bus and pick him up. He'll be joining us soon here on WWE. Get ready. We got the next Rock in our hands. The Lucha Bros. It's funny you said send them to SmackDown. That's exactly what I was thinking. I didn't want to interrupt you when you said it, but I about did. I unmuted my mic for that because I was thinking, damn, that's exactly what I was thinking. Bring them on over to WWE and send them to SmackDown because we could use some tag team help over here because it's rough. What I don't want to see is them get put in a faction. I don't have anything against factions. I don't have anything against the LWO. I think it's a great gimmick. It could use some better people. They could use some better people to feud against, too. But Lucha Brothers can hold their own. They easily could be WWE Tag Team Champions. Make it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
and then lastly, go ahead.
They could easily feud against Legado del Fantasma on SmackDown.
Yeah.
They could, they could end the feud with that and then go straight into the tag team opportunity for title shot. Because you got Street Profits, Legado del Fantasma, Baron Corbin and Apollo, the Bloodline, and Pretty Deadly. And A-Town Down
Imagine
Under.
the Street Profits versus the Lucha Brothers.
Angelo Dawkins would do pretty good in that match, but it would be all Montez Ford and
Montez Ford. Yep. Yeah. When they needed somebody to get Penta on the ground and just keep him down for a little bit, that's where Dawkins would come in. That pound the ground style.
Yeah, Dawkins has gotten tremendously better, but the Lucha Bros, Street Profits, or even them against the Bloodline, that would still be good. Penta and freaking Fatu. Good Lord.
That'd be good. That would cook. And then lastly, man, I tend to not feel too bad about or feel sorry for anybody in AEW. But if you got to feel sorry for somebody, it's got to be Wardlow. Now, when I was watching Heavy, Wardlow I thought they were going to put the belt on this dude at one point. I thought that's what we were doing. We were booking him crazy. Like, we were doing all this crazy stuff with MJF or whatever. I thought he'd get over. Thought we was putting the belt on him. Well, that didn't pan out. And then the next thing you know, he's sent to the house. And then he came back. And I think they put him in, didn't they put him in some group or something at some point? He was one of the Devil's Advocates or something, wasn't he? Or whatever.
He was part of basically the people who would put the mask on. The mask is the one that MJF used. And it's the same one that they had Adam Cole use when he decided to turn on MJF. He helped attack MJF after the title match, right before MJF went out with all the shoulder issues that had going on. He's part of that Undisputed Kingdom.
And then now he's back at the house because you said it's
Yeah.
been weeks and you haven't seen him on TV.
Yeah, I've been watching him about 2 weeks before Forbidden Door. Yet to see Roderick Strong, 2 other ones. I ain't even seen Adam Cole either. Maybe them 2 are on vacation soon. I don't
Well,
know.
Adam Cole's at the house licking wounds right now because I don't know whether y'all heard or not, but the rumor going around is that Adam Cole might have been sitting at the house nursing the wounds or getting pushed around in the wheelchair. But from what I understand, Christian was working on putting old DMD in a wheelchair. So Adam Cole's he's having it rough right now, man. It's Agent Christian. They got the highest rated home wrecker home wrecker ratio in sports entertainment. So that's rough, man. Old DMD. What's her name? Britt Baker? Britt Baker found her a new daddy. Yeah, that's it. She found her a new daddy. That's crazy. Christian, boy, I tell you, he's whether you need a stepdaddy or a daddy at night, by God, there's no job too big, no job too small. Christian will do them all. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I hate to hear it, man. That's rough. But life happens. Moving on. Get back to the point here. Top 5 candidates to leave AEW to go WWE right there. You heard them. Go back over them one more time. We got Wardlow. We got Ricky Starks, the Lucha Brothers, Daniel Garcia. Who am I missing? Daniel Garcia. Hook. There he is.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
Hook. That was the one. Yeah, Hook. Hook 'em. So, all this being said, those are current issues that they're dealing with, right? Let's go ahead and go over the ratings for this past week. I know this is a part you've been waiting to get a couple words in on here. So let's see what we got here. Once again, these numbers are brought to us by Brandon Thurston at WrestleNomics. He updated this on August 8th, 2024. Appreciate you, Brandon, for all this hard work you do.
You got a quick question, real quick.
Yep, go ahead.
Where are we starting at? Look at these. Which AEW? How far back are we?
Now, these numbers are for this past week, August 7th on TBS. I'm not going to go over I was going to go over a whole bunch of numbers. I don't want to bore everybody. I know not everybody's big into the analytics thing or whatever. I'm going to do a little bit of analytics again right here, do a small segment, and then we're going to talk about a few things, and then we'll get five. AEW, August 7th on TBS, averaged 622,000 viewers. The key demographic, the 18 to 49, they pulled a 0.19. I mean, it could be worse, I guess. Like it could be worse. So I don't know what else to say about it. It could be worse. AEW's blaming the Olympics, man. They're blaming the Olympics for just being bad. Like that's what their excuse is for being bad. So here's the top 10 cable programs in the key demographic 18 to 49 for Wednesday. Number 1, number 2, Olympics. Number 3, Jesse Waters, Fox News at 8 p.m. Number 4, Olympics. Number 5, Hannity, Fox News at 9 p.m. Number 6, Big Bang Theory at 7:30 p.m. That's also the lead-in, average 902,000 viewers. Gutfield, Fox News at 10 p.m. The program had already ended at that point, minus the 7-minute run over. Average 2 point.
Fighting.
Yeah. It's pretty consistent though. There's a 7-minute run over every single week. Unfortunately, they averaged that show averaged 2.726 million viewers. People rather watch Fox News and watch this. AEW Dynamite was number 8 on the list at TBS at 8 p.m. with 622,000, as we already established. Number 9 was the Olympics at 11 p.m. And number 10 was the Big Bang Theory. It's an hour long of Big Bang Theory. So 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. show, excuse me, 851,000 viewers. And then the 7:30 program had it 902,000. So they spiked it even more, and they couldn't carry it. So the minute that Big Bang Theory went off, about 100,000 people turned their TVs off. This week versus last week's episode, as far as comparisons go, last week was 609,000. That's a 2% increase. So at least they're headed in the right direction. The trailing 4 weeks was an average of 720,000 viewers. It's a 14% decrease. Everybody keeps saying everything's great, everything's improving, everything is fine. Current 2024 quarter 3 average 698,000. Match it up against the 2023 quarter 3 of 885,000. That's a 21% decrease. Everything is not fine. Everything is not great. Stop lying to yourselves. Current August 2024 average 622,000 versus August of 2023 871,000. That's another 29% decrease in average. There's something wrong, massively wrong. You got talent leaving. You have storylines on a weekly basis that either don't make sense, they're not consistent. Kraken, like you just said, you've been watching since Forbidden Door, a couple weeks before Forbidden Door. You haven't seen Wardlow on television since then.
Yeah,
Why?
unless he's shrunk, someone gave him the magic pill to lose like muscle mass and height. He's not been there unless he's playing backstage cameraman. Like, I hate to say it that way, but like he stole Harry Potter's invisibility cloak and is just whooping ass in the crowd and we can't see it.
Yeah. So yeah, let's start going over some of the issues. And I know this is gonna make a lot of people mad. Probably a lot of people's already tuned out. Will tune out before we get to this point. If you're one of the big time AEW fans or whatever, I'm a pro wrestling fan. I have been my whole life. I'm 36 years old. I love pro wrestling, all of it. I wish that they would get good. I want to see competition again. And I know a lot of people say just enjoy pro wrestling. I do enjoy it. I enjoy it great. So much I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much, in fact, I would like for AEW to get good so that we could have nail-biting competition. And everything would be great for real. So here's my thing, right? This is my opinion on it. And then we'll get Kraken's opinion and kind of go from there. Tony Khan is a control freak. He has to be in control of everything. If he could pour the drinks and sell the popcorn, he'd do that too. But he can't. He don't have time. He's over encumbered with this show. It's too much. He don't want to ask for help. There's a lot of wrestling talent out there that you could get that could help. I don't know. You had the Big Show, and I think he left. Didn't the Big Show leave? Is the Big Show still there? Paul White?
Yeah,
Or
Paul
is he
White,
done?
he's still there. I haven't seen him in ring. He might be doing backstage stuff now. I don't know. I will look that up really quick for you.
Dustin Rhodes, I think he's done next month. Next
Uh,
month's his last. I think his contract expires.
Last match I seen Dustin Rhodes in was my first time watching AEW since Sting's retirement. It was, I do believe, fourth, if I remember correctly. He was in a match, kick off the show against Jack Perry in a qualifier for the Forbidden Door ladder match. Vacant time. He showed a tremendous amount of color and got pinned for the ring by Jack Perry.
That's crazy. I think he won a title. I think he's been on Ring of Honor or something. I'm not sure. If you want to check into that too while you're at it. So while Kraken's doing some of the analytics work there for me, I think there's potential. You have MJF, who is one of the most controversial pieces in the business. He's got the look. He sounds like a star. He looks like a star. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, probably a duck. I don't know why we're not using him better. He needs to be booked better. Right now, he's booked against. His name escapes me. Wow, what's the guy's name he's feuding against?
Talking about Will Ospreay for MJF.
Yeah, that's it. Will Ospreay. That's. I know Will Ospreay's good. I watched him. Like, he's good, but these names are not household names. Like, it's like this is an issue. They got to get to the point that these guys have household names. Okada, we've signed Okada, and he's not done nothing except he says bitch every week. That's it. That's his gimmick. Comes on TV, bitch, and then that's the one word he can say. I thought Okada was one of the best wrestlers in the world. The Rainmaker. I thought I thought we were getting something crazy good. What happened? The Young Bucks haven't defended the tag team titles in weeks.
They're supposed to
This,
defend against the Acclaimed at some point. Yet to state when that match.
well, from what I understand, the Young Bucks just cut an interview and like kind of was just making jest that they were of pro wrestling. They worked a limited schedule when they wanted to work. What? I don't understand what is going on. Viewership is down. Attendance is down. We're booking massive stadiums. Greensboro Coliseum, they had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in the Greensboro Coliseum. No, I'm sorry, Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And they drew 2,500 people. What? They had Ric Flair at one point. They're done with Ric Flair. Okay, he's almost 80 years old. Okay, cool. He's still a name. He's still a draw. Like, I don't understand what's going on. I think we fix this issue. Tony has to hire some better creative. We got to make better financial decisions. The money may be unlimited, but from what, as of right now, I'm not aware of, and Kraken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe they have signed any new deal with WBD. They are not secured by any means going forward on television. And the fine people at WBD woke up late last week and decided that somebody had forgot to carry a one, and their company was worth $9 billion with a B, as in boy, $9 billion less than what they thought it was worth. And Tony Khan's optimistic. Optimistic about what? you're trending downwards on everything. Attendance is low, viewership is low, no profit. It can't be profiting. There's no way. Optimistic. Optimistic starting to look like delusional. We're delusional. And we just keep going around telling everybody everything's great, everything's great. The spending, I get that Shad Khan has unlimited funds, basically. But what happens if Shad says no one day? We've invested enough money in this. That will be the day that this will go belly up. It's just not good. The storylines are not consistent. The TV feels rushed sometimes. Sometimes it feels like that they're lost in the middle of the show. The commentary is world class horrible. Jim Ross is too old and in too bad of health to carry that program. He's barely on TV, and when he is, it's for interviews, one-off interviews. He did an interview with Swerve Strickland, and I didn't even have the heart to watch it because he just looked like he was in such bad a shape. I was just like, I don't want to see this. Like, I don't want to see him struggle through an interview because the JR that we remembered from WWE, WCW, like, I just don't want to watch that. Like, it just looked bad. And that's not a slight against JR at all, but he's doing the best he can do considering. Tony Schiavone every week just reminds us how great everything is and how much he's just blessed and thrilled to be working there. This is great. This is awesome. I got the best job in the world. This is awesome. This is great. How many times a show can you say that? Is he trying to convince himself or us? Like, I don't know what's going on. And maybe the banter between him and Taz is maybe it is a work or whatever, but it don't feel like a work. And sometimes it feels awkward. And your audience doesn't want to watch something that makes them feel awkward. And then there's old Sockface. What's his name? Excalibur? Who knows the name of every wrestling move that's ever been named in the entire. And he wants to tell you about his wrestling career that consisted of I don't know what it consisted of, honestly, but from sources that I've heard and read and listened to, it wasn't great. And it wasn't that long either. So I think it's cool that he knows the name of every wrestling that's ever been created, but 90% of your fan base doesn't care. Just give it a name. It doesn't matter if it's the right name, and it either sticks or it doesn't. I mean, obviously we got headlock, hip toss, suplex. I mean, all the basics, but like he knows the names of like he comes up with some of just that's the Whispering Grasshopper 1992. What? That was made famous by Xing Jong Wing in Tokyo, Japan, or like what? I'm like, what? Like, your fan base doesn't know that happened or care. Why are we having to hear that? I am a wrestling, like, I love wrestling. It's all the time. Like, I'm watching it on Peacock, watching YouTube stuff. I'm just always ingesting wrestling knowledge and ingesting wrestling. And I don't care about that. And I'm a pretty hardcore fan. I don't like I don't know. Maybe it's just me, whatever, right? I think we need a new announce team. We need somebody to take over creative. We need to get more consistent with the storylines and stop spending so much money on stars. Odyssey Jones debuted on Monday Night Raw, and just his social media presence from that debut did better than all three shows that AEW put out. That's crazy. Kraken, what's your opinion on everything that I just kind of collected into one statement?
So, like I said at the start, we're gonna have two different ends. You did state at the start of this, you do not watch AEW on the regular anymore. At me, on the other hand, I have been watching it since, like I said, June. Um, honestly, we're just gonna be honest with everybody. When I first started watching AEW again, right before Forbidden Door, the build up was good. Hot tournament started. There was some pretty good matches in there. Great build up storyline. One of the main ones for me was the Mariah May build up and the Tony Storm. Then got to start seeing things just fall flat. There was a big build up yet again towards Blood and Guts. A lot of people were excited for Blood and Guts. There was big fallout after. Uh, I don't really know what happened. I'm gonna be honest. I think after that, the booking kind of fell flat after Blood, and that's what's hurting them. I think have the talent there. There's plenty of talent on this roster to make it a competing show if they could book it right. That's been my
Shortage of
biggest.
talent, that's for sure.
Yeah,
There's no shortage of talent whatsoever. He has he has the who's who of of wrestlers, whether they be independent or veterans or any and everything in between.
yeah.
He has the who's who of that.
But so right after Blood and Guts, next show, Dynamite. So I don't watch anything else. We have Will Ospreay going up against Lance Archer. Wow. Who booked that one? MJF? They try to spin it as. Last week we had Double J Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson. No DQ, no count out. Wow. How does that build up Bryan Danielson or Swerve Strickland, who is your AEW World Champion? No disrespect to Double J. He's done his. He doesn't have to do another thing in the ring. But he's trying to prepare him for Swerve. That's two different fighting styles. I don't see how that makes sense. Commentary wise, I have heard, like you said, Taz and Shivani get into it on the mic. Live, we're on air. Hit the button. Look at each other. There's a button where you can mute yourself, just like we can. If that's real, make sure you can keep that between y'all. I know the people there can't hear it, but the people watching at home can see that. You didn't hear JR and the King doing that. You didn't hear Taz and Cole doing that. You didn't hear JBL and Cole doing that. If there was issues, they probably handled it backstage, talked about it. And then Shivani got a huge backlash for some stuff he said about Mariah May live on television. I'm not going to repeat what was said. If you're an AEW fan, I know Shredder knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Talk,
just
bitch.
exactly like blatantly out of nowhere, and Taz and Excalibur were like, "Wow, Shivani, what are we doing?"
Yeah.
And then and You got, like you said, you got.
Just to touch on that before we move off that. So here's my issue with that. Not what he said. It's okay for the commentator. You need a color commentator. That's
Yes.
fine. You need somebody to spice it up every now and then. Pat McAfee does that as well. Corey Graves does that. They spice it up. Was that a little out of pocket for what WWE would do? Yeah, definitely.
It
But it's
was.
not the same company, so it's fine. Here's the part that didn't make sense. Unbiased commentators who it's not Tony Schiavone's job to be heel or face. He's supposed to be an unbiased commentator because he always has been. I mean, I won't say that. For his WCW run and for the majority of his AEW run, it seems like it's kind of went the opposite way. If somebody's a heel, like a mega face, it just didn't look good. And it just, I don't know. I'm not upset about what he said. It is what it is. It's pro wrestling. But if you're going to have your commentary team say something out of pocket, it's got to make sense. It can't be a one-off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so that kind of surprised me. And other than that, I mean, I really haven't just the number drop off. I feel like when last week, Winston Salem, like you said, we had a rookie the Dragon Steamboat. Not a big pool. Why? Well, let's look at the card. Brian and Double J, MJF and Kyle Fletcher, which is actually pretty good. Kyle Fletcher, I hadn't really seen a lot from Fletcher before then. He's got talent if booked right. Brian Keith versus Shibata. Mariah May versus Viva Van. I think she's on AEW Dark. I think we had a 2-on-1 with Camille. That was a squash. And then that was it. They're not booking like you come into the big cities, and Winston-Salem, of course, for North Carolina is not one of the bigger ones like Greensboro or Raleigh or Charlotte, but Winston's still a good populated wrestling community. And you can't.
It was once massive territory show. It
Yeah,
used to be coming to the LJVM Coliseum live Friday night, 8 o'clock. I mean,
it
they
was
would have the
big.
seats sold before the show ever got there.
Yeah, and then to end the show, we had Swerve come out and talk to Brian. Okay, cool. But you didn't do anything else for the night. I felt like it was more commercials than there was wrestling this time. And that all started after Blood and Guts. They're just not booking again the way it needs to be. I'm hoping that can change, just like you can, because there's so much potential throughout the company. Greenville, South Carolina, for example, you had a banger of a match, in my opinion, between Adam Page and Darby. Adam Page nearly broke Darby's back with some steps. There was some spots in there that was dangerous, but the match was good. Mercedes Moné got in the middle of the ring and spoke again. And then a trios tag match. I think that concluded of Bush, someone the monster, I can't remember his name. One of the Undisputed Kingdom, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and someone else was the other team. I know on last week in Winston-Salem, they had Orange Cassidy and FTR because they're from North Carolina going up against who? The same tag team I said they went against the week before. I think what they've got themselves into an issue is they got too many factions over here, too many tag teams. got trios titles. Like he was asking me about against for Dustin Rhodes. As of July 27th, I didn't even know this because I didn't watch it. There was a Ring of Honor 6-man title match at Belts XI, 11, I think is what they called it. Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs are now the 6-man AEW Ring of Honor champion. Cool. So we're not gonna see Dustin for a while. Paul White, Big Show, whatever you want to call him, as of July 14th, is still recovering from an injury that he sustained on AEW due to taking a choke slam on a hood of a car from Hobbs. That's where the Big Show went.
That was a necessary spot.
Yeah, he already has back issues and hurts to walk because he's a giant. I mean, he's the modern day actual giant besides Great Khali. You know.
Who also can barely walk.
Yeah, so let's just take another big name and put him through a hood of a car by Hobbs, Hobbs is a powerhouse. And then here's another thing. We're talking about them booking right names, people they have over there. Where the hell is Moxley at? He lost that title that he won at Forbidden Door. And is getting vacation time? He at home collecting the check? And then most of the time as well, we got the learning tree. Everybody sitting under the learning tree of the 17th new character that I've created, Chris Jericho. Why do we keep changing who Jericho is? This man has had so many names over the years. He's good at what he does. Don't get me wrong. But, like, he's not doing anything at the moment. He had a 45-minute chop match against, I can't remember who he fought now. And that was the worst match I think I've ever seen in my life. And it was...
Well, he's the Ayatollah of rock and roller.
Huh?
So, he's the Ayatollah of rock and roller. You remember that? Yeah. You remember when Jericho was the Ayatollah of rock and roller?
Yes, I do.
Remember when he was the savior?
Yep.
The savior of Chris Jericho. That's good, yeah.
I mean,
the Lionheart, Chris Jericho.
Yeah. At some point, he's going to be the Mad Hatter and come out with a big old clock. Just talking about he's late. He's late. He's awful fucking late. I just think the booking needs to be fixed. If the booking could get fixed, I think we wouldn't be having this type of conversation.
Hey, there's one thing you can say about Jericho for sure. Jericho, if anybody in AEW is set, it's Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Because he is bulletproof in AEW. He had some controversy come up, and they just swept that right under the rug, boy. And just put the rug down, and yeah, they're popped up. They swept it under the rug, and it sprouted a learning tree. It's the damnedest thing I've ever saw. He's got a long contract worth a lot of money and just does whatever he wants to do. And he's there for everything that happens, whether he's actually there and has something to say about it. Chris Jericho is, man, I tell you, you can hate on a lot of things, but that guy has figured out how to always come out on top. They need to start calling him Rhea Ripley.
I have figured it out. As of July 25th, 2024, on July 24th episode of AEW Dynamite, Chris Jericho defended his FTW championship against, I'm going to butcher this name, Minoru Suzuki?
Yeah, Suzuki, yeah. That's what most people call.
Yeah, in a chopping match.
Minoru Suzuki. He's a
Yes.
Japanese legend wrestler.
Yeah.
Looks like he can barely walk.
Here we go. Jericho went back and counted. He was chopped 100+ times by Suzuki and suffered a broken finger. That's what happened. And that was a title match. AEW.
I tried to watch that. I told you. I actually called you that night, or you called me. I can't remember. And we're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I wanted to take a nap, so I turned on AEW." And I didn't make it through that match. That match was on, and I leaned my gaming chair back because it's reclinable, and I reclined it back a little bit, and was sitting here watching it. And next thing I know, my phone was ringing, and it was you. And I was just like, "Oh shit!" And I'd been asleep for like an hour or so at that point. And I was like, "Well, I'm recharged and ready to go." And I didn't want to see that shit. And that's not why I went to sleep. I just put it on because it's wrestling. I just want to see kind of where we were at with the state of things, and I ended up falling asleep pretty quickly. And I will agree that was one of the that was definitely in the top 20 of my matches that I would never care to watch ever again.
Yeah,
That
and
was there.
one more thing that before we get on to this rampage aspect of what there's another wrestler over there for a that decided to take a crazy bump because Boss Man told me to, Eddie Kingston. And is now what? Got a broken fibia and tibia, I believe? Either way, his leg was broken because they thought it was okay to suplex him off of the apron. Wow.
Oh yeah. I remember that. And his leg came down across the metal barricade.
Yeah, the barricade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
I remember seeing that on Twix.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't know what Twix is. That's Twitter and X combined. Twix, because we don't know what the hell to call it, so we call it Twix.
I
Uh,
mean, I,
I remember that. I saw that and I was like, oh shit.
he,
Oh,
he fractured his tibia, but it was
Jesus Christ.
on May 20th. Also tore his ACL and meniscus.
The same leg?
Same leg.
Ouch. Well, get well soon, Eddie. I would say come to WWE, but I don't think it would work, brother. Uh, all right. That's kind of the state of affairs right there with, what they got going on. Overall synopsis of the last just barrage here. Get a better creative team. Get the commentary figured out. Take Sockface off commentary, please. If Shivani can't keep himself under control from causing awkward moments with other members of the team, take him off TV too, and make him one of the people that runs around the arena and does interviews because that seems to be what he's the best at. Stop spending chaotic amounts of money on people who are not. You're not getting anything for all this money you're spending, Tony. You've got no return from Okada, no return from Mercedes Moné, and I'll touch on that here in a minute. The Mercedes Moné chaos. Edge spent money to get him.
Broken
Then we told him
leg.
to jump off a 20-foot high steel cage at 50 years old with a surgically repaired neck. Broken leg, correct. You are correct, Kragan. Maybe never wrestle again.
Oh no, he'll be back. He said he ain't done.
How many more injuries can he take before he's crippled permanently?
Yes, at this rate until science or
It's my thing is it's not worth it. We're getting no return from that. No return at all. Daniel Bryan. What's his name? Brian Danielson. And over
Brian
here.
Danielson. Yeah, just switch it
Yeah.
backwards.
No return. Nobody cares. You used to be one of the top draws there. People were so excited when you came in. It was, man, listen, I knew they was finna put the belt on you. You didn't want the belt. And then I don't know what happened. Nobody cares anymore. When you come on TV, they click it. Just like they do when Jericho comes on it. Click. What's going on Channel 4? What's going on Channel 400? What's going on anywhere besides what's going on with Brian Danielson in the ring? That's what you've gotten to. And you're also getting outed by the other side of the wrestling community because you went off the script with Miz when you were in WWE and that Smack Talk episode, and you got absolutely obliterated by an irate Miz because you went off script and then he did and you couldn't handle it and you had to walk off the set. What? I mean, what? What is going on? And then on top of all that, I'm going to tell you right now, I would fire you in a heartbeat. I would fire you so fast that your beard would spin around and you'd have back hair. You have went on social media and put out posts and talking about how you want to spend more time at home with the wife and the kids and the blah, 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 and your body's breaking down. And I get all that. You don't do that when you're going into a pay-per-view, which, mind you, is the only pay-per-view that y'all pull record attendance numbers at, and that might actually profit something if Taylor Swift doesn't show up and cost y'all every bit of your profits. And you're talking about how you're ready to retire. You're ready to be at home. It's a career versus title match. What? Why would you do that? Even if you don't lose, which you're probably going to, because you have no business at all beating Swerve Strickland, because now you've told everybody I've needed neck surgery for the last X amount of weeks, months, whatever. My body's breaking down. I'm old. I'm tired. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. Why in God's name would we ever believe you're going to win? This is weeks before the pay-per-view. When is this pay? When is All In? I don't even know when this is. When is it, Kraken?
August 25th. So
Why? Like, I'm
1 week
reading
from
this
Sunday.
yesterday. I'm reading this yesterday on the internet. It's an interview you did, Brian. Why? I'd fire you so fast. You wouldn't even make it to the match. I'd come up with some reason as to why you couldn't compete and then just get rid of you. Send you home if it's that important. Don't wrestle anymore. We're done. Okay, thanks for the years. We appreciate it. See you, man. I don't need you backstage either. You might be where the leaks are coming from because everything's always leaking. Maybe it's you. Like, somebody's got to take control of this ship. It's taking water on, and it's like, I mean, this is the worst knockoff version of watching the Titanic I've ever saw. Because it's just, I mean, the Titanic was 4 hours, and 2 of the 4 hours was watching the ship sink. This is 5 years. 5 years we're into this project. And this is the last thing I want to touch base on before I give closing thoughts here. I'm not going to go into all the controversy that WWE had going on because everybody knows what that is. And if you don't, then you've probably been sleeping under a rock or you don't care about pro wrestling, and that's fine too. If you don't care about pro wrestling, you probably shouldn't be listening to this. But I appreciate you for being here if you're hearing it. In 2019, WWE was in a rut. And then in 2020, we had the pandemic. And then we had 2021, 2022, 2023. And somewhere in that time frame, there was the McMahon controversy. It was a PR nightmare. Everything was bad. People were leaving the company. The shows were bad. Everything was bad. And you had hype. You had everything you needed. You were literally standing on the throat of the World Wrestling Entertainment. There was at points where we were seeing that Tony Khan was going to buy the World Wrestling Entertainment. Now, the hardcore WWE fans never took it seriously, but it became a thing. You just started seeing more and more and more. And you couldn't, for the life of you, get out of your own way to finish them off. And then Triple H took over and was like, hey, we're partnering with TKO and we're doing this and we're doing that. And Vince is gone forever. And I got the Pine-Sol and the bleach out and the scrub brushes. And I opened the back door and we purged this place clean. And turned it in from a PR nightmare to a PR dream. And then now, like, people are showing up from all droves of the world, Mexico, Japan, Australia, wherever, all over the world, people are coming to sign with WWE. And everybody, this is great. Triple H is great. Everything's great. It's really great over there. Like, the numbers are up. Everything's up. You couldn't beat them. I don't understand. I can't wrap my brain around it. Like, I just I can't for the life of me figure it out. I sincerely, we're going to go over these Collision and Rampage numbers really quick, and then we'll do final thoughts. I hope that you can just get it right because I want to see, I want to just be able to go back and forth with somebody in a competitive, friendly way of what show is better, even though we both enjoy pro wrestling. And I want there to be something on Wednesday night that I want to watch again. Wednesday is the only day that I have that's not filled with wrestling. I need something to do on Wednesday. Tony, can you please fix this godforsaken show? Because the Wednesday show is terrible. I sure as hell ain't going to watch the Friday or Saturday shows. And by these numbers we're getting ready to go over, no fucking body else is either. Because it's terrible. With that being said, go ahead.
Before he deep dives the numbers, I want to give everybody a quick rundown of Collision. I don't have Rampage pulled up at the moment, but I have AEW Collision from last week. Quick rundown of just the card they had for us. Anybody that tuned in on, what was that, Saturday? Correct? Yes. So, first match we had was Darby Allin and Hologram, who everybody thought was Ricochet, versus the Prime Athlete.
I remember that.
Thunder Rosa, and I'm going to butcher the last name, that one, but it's Purrazzo. That's how much I have not seen her wrestle, since I started watching W again. FTR and the Outrunners. Never heard of Outrunners. Roosh and Preston Vance. Roosh is becoming a pretty decent name in AEW. Then we had Swerve Strickland going up against Ishii. And looks like the main event of the evening was Bang Bang Gang versus House of Black with special guest ref, everyone's favorite father, Christian Cage. Go ahead with the numbers. Let us know how it did.
All right. This is for AEW Rampage on August 9th on TNT. You ready for this?
So this, for anyone that doesn't know, this automatically follows up SmackDown, WWE SmackDown. I think it comes on at 10 o'clock. This is the competing show. People who are wrestling fans. This, how they wanted it to work, does not do how it does. Go ahead.
Yep. One more thing to say. Brandon Thurston published this on August 12th, 2024. This does immediately follow SmackDown. The thought process should have been immediately when SmackDown goes off, I'll turn this on so I can enjoy some more pro wrestling for the people who love pro wrestling as much as I do. That's not the case. AEW Rampage August 9th on TNT. 219,000 viewers. That averaged out in the 18 to 49 key demographic to a 0.09. That's for AEW Rampage, August 9th on TNT. Kraken just read you guys the card. The matches don't make sense. We're booking matches for no reason. The storylines aren't consistent. Tony Khan owns the company. He gets pushed around by everybody. I don't understand.
Oh, the only match on the card was the Bang Bang Gang and House of Black. And here's why. Bang Bang Gang 2 weeks ago was stripped of the Trios Tag Team Championship. They were stripped of it because Jay White, is the fourth member in that group, got injured. So, technically, Billy Gunn's kids and whatever the Trios partner, I cannot remember his name, in my life at the moment, had to give the titles up.
Juice Robinson?
Yes, Juice. Yeah, Juice Robinson. They had to give the titles up. Okay, cool. Well, we want them back. Juice is gonna be our third. How do we do it? All right. Well, we'll figure it out. All right, cool. So then they had to go against Christian and his group. They won.
Patriarch is
Patriarch.
what they're called.
Yep, the Patriarch won the titles. Cool. Now we want another title shot because technically we didn't lose them. We had to give them up. We lost them to you. Let's do this thing. All right, cool. Well, House of Black was supposed to have a title shot for the trios, but then Buddy Matthews got hurt. Got rode off by Christian. We all know he took some time off. So now let's have a 6-man tag. Bang Bang Gang, House of Black, winner will fight the Patriarch for the titles. Now, I don't know who won this match. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't even think there was a clear winner because from what I understand, Christian Cage, Kill Switch, and whoever else is part of the Patriarch attacked everybody. Yeah. All 6 guys are taken out. Christian Cage counts everybody down. It's a complete count out all around.
So now what are we going to have what would this even be? A 9-man triple threat?
A 9-man triple threat tag match. Patriarch, House of Black, and Bang Bang Gang. That's what it looks like at the moment.
God almighty.
The Patriarch took everybody out with chairs. They ended up, there was a kill switch to Malachi onto a chair. That's how Collision ended.
The next time they decide to do something to Malachi Black, who should be one of the best talents that they have, I hope the next time he's laying in the floor, just to make it worse, I'm still one from Cornette here, and some people know where I'm going as soon as I get ready to say this. Next time you do that, where you just lay him out on the floor with a chair, make sure you lay him out where he's looking up at the lights, so while he's down there, you can piss in his mouth. How about that? I don't understand how we have somebody to the level of Malachi Black, and we're getting just B-teamed to death. I mean, for the love of criminy Christ on a cracker. All right, before I get too far down this knucker hole of um, chaos, do you have the collision card, or do you just want me to go over the numbers?
No, you go ahead. That yeah, I'm good.
He said, "I don't want to look up one more card. I'm sick of it too." All right, everybody, here we go. Before we end this thing, AEW Collision August 10th on TNT averaged 370,000 viewers. That's a 0.11 in the key demographic 18 to 49. Those numbers were published by Brandon Thurston, apologize, of WrestleNomics on August 13th, 2024. In summary, I know this has been it's may feel like a hit piece or something like that we've done for this podcast. I'm just a passionate wrestling fan. I just want it to get better, but there has to stop being this mirage or this falsified security or whatever you want to make up and justify it as. It has to stop that AEW isn't struggling, that the ship is not sinking. Address the issues, fix the program, and give us something to watch again. Yes, we could only watch WWE and that would be fine. And, everybody say, well, why don't the E-phones just watch WWE and leave us alone? But we want competition. We want everybody to do good. WCW versus WWF at the time was some of the best TV. They were going back and forth, and each program made the other one better by competing. That's like wrestling's fun to enjoy either way, but that would be, that would be ideal is to have another competition or just to have something maybe even to watch on Wednesdays that's watchable at this point. Because based off of the numbers, what you're doing right now, nobody wants to see it. They're not spending money to come see it. They're not taking time to watch it on TV. Give you just a kind of a comparison here. WWE SmackDown August 9th on Fox. 2,269,000 viewers. The key demographic, the 18 to 49, pulled a 0.64. And then that goes up against, where's the Dynamite numbers again here? Give me a second. I do apologize. The Dynamite numbers. Bum, 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 bum. 622,000 viewers earlier in the week. It's not the Olympics. It's not hockey. It's not baseball. It's not cricket. It's not pickleball. It's not nothing. It's you. You're the issue. Book better. Just do better in general. We're begging you. We want some more entertainment value. That's my closing thoughts. Like I said, I know it's going to feel like a hit piece. I do apologize for anybody that's a hardcore AEW fan that gets offended or anything like that, but it's really just a call to arms for hopefully if we can get this movement going enough for people calling them out to start doing better. Maybe they'll do something different and the program will get better. That would be the ideal scenario, is that they listen and it just gets better. Closing thoughts, Kraken?
Closing thoughts on my side. I know it sounds like you said we did, hit here, but overall, we just want, like you said, we want competition with wrestling. There's plenty of companies out there, but none's giving us the, hey, we gotta tune in. I do watch now. With that being said, I do watch Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW, Dynamite. I watch TNA, and I watch the biggest names that are on the TV that you can find on a regular. And at some point, we need a contender. What did TNA do? They were smart. They companied with WWE. It has brought them back to life aspect. So
TNA is the company that won't die.
we got to see AEW do. Now, does that mean I'm not going to watch Wednesday? Absolutely not. I'll be there Wednesday, 8 o'clock, doing how I normally do. But it's just got to get better. We're all fat. With that being said, that's all I got.
All right, so for everybody that has hung out this long, or that hears the end of this video at any point, I think we're gonna try to chop this one up this week and maybe do some shorts out of it. Please make sure you guys are giving Neptune's Kraken a follow on YouTube. A subscribe. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Also, guys, be sure to check out his subscription platform for his membership. He has some really cool features for his membership. I think he goes over those weekly or daily almost, because he's streaming wrestling pretty much every day. Every time he's live, he goes over the membership benefits for you guys. Please make sure you take time to check those out. Drop him a subscribe if you haven't done so. Also, check me out as well on YouTube, Titan Shredder. If this podcast continues to grow, the first episode did a lot better than what I thought it was going to do as far as views wise. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see that. We'll see how this one does. The next episode that we do, we'll be getting more back to the basics of what this was designed for, reviews and such. And we'll be doing probably a review of NXT's kind of blah tonight. We might do like a short format for tonight's show. Not a lot going on, I don't think, on NXT tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But with that being said, like I said, the next episode we'll get back to normal practices and standards, unless something crazy happens in the wrestling world. If it does, we'll be here to cover it. I want to thank everybody that watched the first episode, that subscribes to both of us. And as always, just stay tuned for more videos, news, rumors, reactions, and any and everything in between. Stay safe, be blessed, and Kraken, your turn.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us. If you made it this far, it does mean a tremendous amount to both of us. We may not say it enough to y'all, but I want to thank everyone again for all the support you've shown to both of us through our wrestling aspects here. That being said, if you see someone in public, make sure you give them a smile. Could change the day, could change their life. Be a friend. I am out.